Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Podcasts with NC. This is the first podcast for 2024. This year, I am going to be an entrepreneur. This is kind of funny because this New Year resolution occurred after the fact that I have become an entrepreneur. I didn't know that I was going to do this before 2024. But just random chance, I ended up doing it. And what I've been doing was selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace. So today's video, I'm going to share what I learned and specifically how I use Google Sheet as a tracking form for me to keep track of all my transaction, my profit, and how much I spend on my investment to buy products and things like that. So without further ado, I will do this demonstration because I'm a super organized person, and in today's world it's all data driven. I feel it's very necessary to have something for me to clearly see what I'm doing, how much profit I'm making, how much money I have invested in buying all these goods, and how long it takes me from selling all these things. So a lot of data that can be very useful. And it also gives me a sense of satisfaction when I look at these numbers and able to make sense of it. So then I'm clearly able to see my little step forward during this process. So now I'm starting off with a clean, good new sheet of Google Sheet. You can just get this for free. Just go into Google Sheets from Google and just kind of log into your Gmail and then just get this Google Sheet open. It's free to use. So on top, I would list down, Facebook Marketplace log. That's what I call it. You can call it whatever you want. And then I created it on January 3rd, 2024. That was the first day that I created this Google Sheet. Okay. So down here, you can change the name of your sheet as well. So you can say Marketplace. That's that. Okay. And then what are the useful columns for you to use? So I'm going to have different variety of important data. So the first one I have is the date ordered. So I want to know when I order the items, or the date I bought the item. Okay. And then the second one is the date that I listed on Facebook Marketplace, because I know how long it's been out in the market. And the third one I want is the date sold. So what day did I sold it? And then obviously this one is very important, is the name of the item that you were selling. And then the item cost, how much it costs you to buy the item. And then also 8.1% tax. And that is usually just how much it costs for tax when you buy an item. Okay, and then also the list price. So now this is the price that you set to sell. Okay, and you can feel free to make it look nicer if you want to. But this is just a quick demonstration. Obviously you can embellish your sheet to make it look way nicer if you want when you have more time. Item sold value. So this is actually how much you sold it for, right? You could be listing something for $10, but in reality you might be just sold it for $8 because the other person was trying to barter with you, and so you actually sold it for $2 less. Or after 1 week or 2 weeks of listing on the product on Marketplace and there was nobody really interested on it, and you decided to lower your price. So maybe in the final sell, you actually sold it for less than what you originally listed. Okay. And then profit. And this is kind of optional, but I have this column here called the buyer. So the buyer will be who is the person who bought this item from me. And you may argue like, why do I need to know that? And by all means, that's why I said it's optional. You don't really need to know who the buyer is, but I just like to track who bought my stuff. And if their name starting to repeat and show up again and again in the future, maybe I wouldn't give that person more trust that he or she is more likely to come back and buy stuff from me. So I might even be more willing to give that person a discount, or just share a link and show like, hey, here's all my listing. Why don't you take a good look at all my listing, and if you find a couple of the items that you like, then just come and pick up all of them at once. So that is the reason why I want to know who the buyer actually finally bought the products was. Okay. And then I have another column that said other notes. So this is where I would put down any optional notes that I want to keep track of what's going on with this sale. And then I have a bunch of other criteria that are also very extra, that is just metric that I would like to know. It's not something that you have to use it, and it's not necessary at all. And this one is the image. So I would usually take picture, photo of all my products, and post it on Facebook. And I would just pick like one of the overall general photo and paste it onto a cell underneath it. Not saying that you can see it because the picture is going to be very tiny inside the cell, but if you really want to, you can zoom it up to 300%, and that way if you actually need a refresher of what the item looked like when you're going back a month ago, then you can quickly, using the spreadsheet, remember what the item really looked like or what it was really is, because you have sold hundreds of items by then, right? So you can't remember everything. And then this is something I just added yesterday, and that's the number of clicks that people view on Facebook Marketplace before it was sold. Okay. And time, days. So this is the amount of days since the listing day and the days that it was sold. So basically, how many days it has been on the market before the item was sold. And I think this is quite an important metric, because it tells me if this item is in hot demand or not, right? So the shorter time that it need to be sold, maybe the item is hotter, or maybe it can be due to the pricing too, right? If you sell something for really cheap, then obviously it's going to take less time. So there's a number of factors. That's why you have to look through every single metric and make a final call whether the item is really high demand, whether your pricing was good and fair, or whether people are actually interested and start looking at all those clicks. If you get something that's 500 clicks, but then it's been listed for like 2 weeks and you still cannot sell it, so the 500 clicks doesn't really help. Maybe there's something wrong with your pricing. Maybe the price is too high because a lot of people are obviously interested. That's why they click on it, but the item is not selling. So that these metrics really help me see why the product is not selling or why it's selling so fast. So it's kind of a learning lesson for myself as well. Okay, and then up here I want to write order expense. So this will be the total amount that I spent on buying products, so then I can resell them, right? And then below it is kind of the order date, and then the cost, okay, of the item that I spent to buy it. And then I have notes if I have any other notes. So this is kind of its own separate column. So like over here, this is kind of its own separate entity, if you will. So I think that is pretty much it. Let me double check. Okay, up here, I want to have this thing called total revenue. So this will give me how much money I've been collected. Okay, total after I sold all my products, how much product I've been selling so far. And then I want to have net profit. Okay, so this is the total amount of money that I got, subtract the cost that I spent. So that's my profit. Okay. So now let's go over an example. Okay. So let's just pretend. So just put in some really random data. So let's say New Year, January 1st, 2024 was the day that I ordered that particular order. Okay. So over here, order day 1/1/24, and I spend maybe a total of $100 buying random stuff, a variety of item. And then the nose, I wouldn't say I bought a car phone holder, I bought wireless earbuds, I bought let's see, power strip, I bought, let's see, wallets. Okay, something like that, and then I just put that down on there. And if you don't want yours looks like this, I would just usually go to the column, and then I'll just click on text wrapping, and I pick wrap. So now it looks like, not extended into other cells. And you can always just like customize, and usually my nose, I will make it a little wider so then it's not super long. So like that. And I'm looking at 150% zoom, just so then it's easier for you to look at the text. Otherwise, with 100% fit, you can see most of everything across the entire screen on your computer. So it's easier to see. Okay. And so the date listed, this is the date I actually listed on Facebook Marketplace. So, because I ordered it on the 1st doesn't mean I'm get it the same day. So maybe it took 4 days for it to arrive. And so I listed it on the 5th. Okay. And then the day that I sold this item, well, I don't know yet until it's sold. So usually I just kind of leave it blank at first. And then the item name, well, is gonna be my car phone holder. Okay. And then the item cost, so maybe I spent $5 buying this item. And it will say just 5, so you can actually click on this whole column and click on this $sign. So now it's automatically changed everything to 5. And also for embellishment purpose, I like to put everything in the center. So I would actually like Control A to select everything. And then I will just make this to the middle center. So now all your text is centered in the middle of the column, and it just makes it a lot more pretty to look at. Okay, so $5 is how much you spend, and then now you have to pay 8.1% tax. Okay, so how are you gonna do that? So in order to do that, you can do equal to that, which is your item cost, multiply 0.081 for your tax. Then close that. And now that 8.1% tax of $5 is going to be 41 cents. Okay. And so what is the price that I list for sale? So I want to make it double. So I'm putting $10. So I'm selling for $10. Okay. So again, don't forget to change that to a $sign. And then how much did I actually sold it for? So let's say I was able to sell it for $10 as the listing price. Cool. That means I didn't have to lower my price. The item was selling well. And the profit, well, that is obviously that's going to be equal to how much you actually sold, subtract the tax, subtract the cost that you spent to acquire the item in the first place, close the parenthesis, and then you made $4.60 for that item. And then the buyer, I'm just going to say John Smith was the buyer who contacted me from Facebook Marketplace. Okay. Other notes, so it's up to you. You don't have to use it if you don't want to. I can say that, John asked to pick up on Monday for 5 p.m. So that is just a note for me to remember as a reminder that John is coming over to pick up at 5 p.m. Whatever that you want to write, okay? Or it can be blank. So image, I'm not going to post an image here, but what I do is I connect my computer account to my phone's account and I take picture with my phone, and I can go to Google Sheet using the app on my phone and directly upload the photo from my phone very easily. I think you just hit this like plus sign or something like that on your phone, and there's a way for you to insert an image from your phone. So I'm gonna leave image blank because I'm not gonna use my phone and try to upload it because you won't be able to see my phone anyway. So the number of clicks, you can actually get this metric from Facebook Marketplace. Every day it's gonna update it for you. I think I don't know how often it updates a number. I think it's like maybe every minute. It's pretty updated most of the time. So you just go on your Facebook Marketplace and let's say it got like 25 clicks. Okay, so how long has it been since the data is sold? Well, I don't know yet until I have a day that it was sold. So let's say I listed on the 5th. I was able to sell it on the 8th. Okay, oops, wrong spot. Should be over here. They sold. Okay, they sold over here, and then this one. Okay, so for the how many days that it took you to sell the item, you would use this formula equal to date if. So you have to like click on this, and then you select the day that you listed, hold out control, and then select the day that you sold. And then on the formula, make sure that you also write the code D, which stands for the dates, rather than month or years. And then you hit enter, and then it will turn to the number of dates. So if you don't want it to be decimals, you want to like select that and then hit format. Maybe number, and then you can say custom number format, because right now I have this number and I don't want any decimal point, so I'm just gonna round it to 0, so like a whole number. So hit apply. So now it's gonna be 3 full days that it took me to sell this product. And so from all these data on here, I can easily tell how much it cost me to buy the item, what the item is, how much I sold it for, and how much profit I made from this item. And also, it tells me how long it took me to sell this product. Okay, and then obviously, moving forward, you're gonna have like the second product, right? So it's gonna be the same batch of products. So it's gonna be multiple of this same order, and then I probably wouldn't have been listed it on the same day. Okay, or you could list it tomorrow because you don't have time. That's fine. And then your day sold is gonna be maybe different for everybody else, for other item. So sometimes you just gotta make sure you change the format for all of them. So like for this, you want to do date, so you would want to change that format to numbers, and you want to change that to date. Okay, and so that will do the date for you. Okay, and then you can list your number, your power strip, bags, whatever you wanted to put in, and then fill up this random thing. And then here you can just drop this down, so now it will automatically calculate the text for you for the following items. And then the list price, you're going to want to sell this for 15, this one for 20, for example, and then you actually sold this for only 13, and this one actually only 18. And now when you drag down the profit, it will automatically does the math for you. So if you were selling it under the price that you bought it for, let's say you sold this for $5, now your profit is negative $5. So it's very easy. That's one thing I really like about Google Sheet. It just takes a lot of time to start out in the beginning, but then for the rest, you just drag it down and then it's gonna do everything for you. And so I will not go in and fill out the rest of this, but basically it's the same thing. So how do I get the total revenue? Okay, so total revenue, let me see. So total random revenue is going to be equal to the sum of the item value sold right there. And because I'm gonna keep building this, so I'm actually going to make this like 100. So then in the future, I don't have to like keep dragging it down every time I update the sheet. So it's gonna calculate up to like cell 100, and you can feel free to set it to 1000 if you want to, and that will continue to update by itself. Okay, so net profit is going to be your profit, right? So it's gonna be equal to the sum of all these profit. And then you can also set this to 100 if you want, close the parenthesis. And now after selling these 3 items, I made a profit of $3.81. That's not a lot because I was losing money on this item by a lot. So that's that. And then the order expense, so that for example, I have another order on the 20th, 24th. Well, today is not even the 20th yet when I'm doing this video, but just for example, and I spend 152.54 on this order, and then I say, maybe I bought an iPhone, I don't know. And then when you're listing the next thing, you can say this is from the 20th order, and then you can go on and build onto your existing Google Sheet. So now you can see when I'm zooming back out, you can see a lot more of the columns all at once. I really like keeping track of all these items using a Google Sheet from all my transactions on Facebook Marketplace, just because it gives me a very clear vision of every single item, how long it takes me to sell it, what is the profit, what is the cost, and it also helped me to kind of see what is the listing value that I want to set it at in order to make a certain amount of profit for each item. And it also tells me which item is not selling well. You can certainly spend a lot of extra time to embellishing this sheet together. Like for example, I can make this like more purple and make this part green, and you can go in here and make every single one of them a different color, so then it will look very pretty and easy for your eyes to read whatever you want. Okay, you can do that. Another thing that I like to do personally is I would actually make a condition. So because like the day sold may not be readily available, right? So that one is gonna be blank. And imagine you will have like a bunch of other number going on here. Okay. And let's say you have this one sold, but this iPhone, this is never able to sold up until today. And so you basically have this blank right there that's sitting there, and then if you have like a bunch of other rows that's been added, and then the old stuff is kind of like get left behind when you have so much text, and it's hard to detect that blank spot. What I did is I do a conditioning. So I select the whole entire row, and I hit right click, and then I do conditional formatting, and then this will pop up. And then when I say the cell is empty, meaning that it still doesn't have a sold date yet, I would want it to highlight it with this color or whatever color you want. You can do red. So now every time it's not sold, it will fill the blank cell with red color. So that way it will be like show right in front of your face, and then you're able to detect that, okay, this iPhone is still not selling after it's been on the market for 20 days. Maybe it's time for me to lower my price or doing other things to get it to sell. Okay, so that is all there is for my super fun Facebook Marketplace for 2024, and I'm having a lot of fun. It's only been like 2 or 3 weeks of selling it locally. I don't do any like shipping. I guess that's a blog for another day if I want to share more about my experience. But so far, everything is going surprisingly well. But of course, I also have to deal with a lot of people and maybe people who ghost me a lot. But that is a story for another time. So I hope today this Facebook Marketplace log using Google Sheet can also help you keep track of your records and help you figure out what you need to do for each of your item in order to sell it faster or lowering your price or know what is really selling fast that you can order more of those items and start selling more and make even more profit. Happy making more money in 2024. Thank you.